Hey, Roger here again. October 5, schools will be resuming as declared by the Ministry of Education. And without a doubt, there are many parents who right now they are shopping around for a laptop for their child or children. Possibly you're one of those persons and you don't know what to look for, right? You don't know what features, what specifications to look for. This guide is for you. This is your laptop buying guide. All right, let's go. So you're seeking to purchase a laptop. What should you be looking at? Well, first of all, let me mention that two primary things that you need to start off with, and that is by looking at your budget and your need. So your budget would essentially be how much money you have set aside to purchase this unit. As it relates to your need, well, that would already have been defined. It is for online classes, to use your Google Classroom, Zoom, and to do word processing, browse the web, emails, and so forth. Okay, but look here now. You may be saying that these are really basic stuff, and so you do not really need to buy any high-end machine, and I'm not saying that you should go out and buy a high-end machine, all right? But at the same time, my advice to you is that you should not take it for granted that these are going to be basic stuff, and so you should just go out and just buy just about any unit, right? No. Think also in terms of you want to get value for money, and also think in terms of what the unit will be used for a year, 2, possibly 3 years from now. Your need then may change, and you want to have a situation where you buy something now, and come then it will still be relevant in terms of functionality and performance. Okay, all right. So I'm really speaking more so to persons now who are using Windows or Linux, right? Windows or Linux operating system. All right. Now, in terms of brand, no, I will not recommend a brand. I will not recommend a brand. And yes, I do have my own personal preference in terms of a brand or brands. But I think it is a personal preference as it relates to each person. The brands that we are familiar with, they're pretty good, right? So, I don't really see that as being something that I should define to say that, you should go with this brand because this is the best brand, and, no. Okay, now in terms of specifications, there are 3 key components that I tend to focus on as it relates to purchasing, whether it's a gadget, a smartphone, or a tablet, or a laptop. What are they? The processor, the memory, that's the RAM, and the storage. Now for the processor, Intel is a well-known brand. They make various processors. They have, for instance, the Core i3 processor, Core i5, i7, and so forth. What you'll find is that, yes, the lower models will be cheaper than the higher ones. And so a laptop with a Core i3 processor will, yes, be significantly cheaper than a laptop having a Core i5 processor. And so you may be saying, yeah, but it's cheap, I'm gonna go for that. Yes, I did talk about budget earlier, but also you want value for money. As it relates to a Core i3 processor, I never recommend to anyone to purchase a unit with a Core i3 processor. The reason for that is that these processors are pretty slouchy. And as it relates to doing processor intensive activities, you're going to find that it is going to be responding very slowly. All right. So as it relates to the processor, an Intel processor, my minimum requirement is normally a Core i5 processor. All right. Now for the memory, that's the RAM, 6 or 8 minimum memory. And you may also want to look at the maximum amount of memory that the unit can take. Now let me talk about the storage. For the storage, when you go, for instance, on Amazon now, you'll see the size is being something like a 128 gigabyte or 256 or 512, but for the most part a lot of them are like 128 256 gigabytes. All right, depending on who you are, that may not be a lot of storage. Again, depending on who you are, it may just be ideal, but bear in mind that installing your various applications on the unit and storing files, especially, you know, multimedia files, eventually your storage will be exhausted. Yes, you do have alternatives, you do have online options, you do have thumb drives you can use as an alternative, and also an external hard drive. All right, so you want to look at that too. As it relates to the hard drive size, generally my recommendation is nothing under terabyte of storage. All right, so those are the three key things that I normally emphasize, and especially for the processor and the memory, these two in particular determine tremendously the speed of your unit, right? How efficiently you'll be able to work. And I'm without a doubt, I know that you are particular about that. You don't want to be sitting in front of the machine and waiting on it. You have to wait a couple of seconds really for it to respond to a particular task, right? You open an application and you have to wait a minute or so. You don't want that. Okay. All right. Now, before we wrap up, let me just mention too that there are some other stuff you may want to focus also on the size of the screen. Generally too, a rule of thumb is that, you know, the longer you're going to be spending in front of the machine, the larger the screen should be. All right. Bear in mind though that the larger you go in terms of screen size, the more expensive the unit is going to be. All right. Look also at the amount of types of ports. So, you know, HDMI ports, how many USB ports, all right, and so forth. A lot of units now are not being shipped with an optical drive, so you will not be able to use something like a CD or a DVD in the unit. All right. Warranty, you need to look at how much warranty you are getting on the unit. You should not be less than a year, and if possible, if you can afford it, I will say to you, purchase as much warranty as possible. All right, so if you can purchase a year, 2 years or 3 years warranty, by all means do that. All right, think in terms also of a laptop bag, or you want to protect the unit, you know, when you're going to be traveling. And UPS, you can also think about a UPS. You don't want to be plugging your laptop directly into the wall outlet because of potential electrical damage, right? Which will be sustained over a period of time, and you know, one day just turn on the laptop and it's not working, right? We know how it is already with JPS here. All right, so definitely think, you know, of power protection and in terms of getting a UPS. All right, so that's it. I hope this video has been useful to you in terms of giving you some pointers, you know, in terms of what you should be looking for to purchase that next laptop. All right, please feel free, give me some thumbs up. Let me know what you think about this video. Comment, like, share, and take care. All right, until next time, you take care and keep safe.